Контакт. Вражеский БТР. 400 метров. Юг. Контакт. Вражеский автомобиль. 400 метров. Контакт. Армейский грузовик. 300 метров. Юг.
Alright, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the new RPGs that have been added to Reforger's 1.5 experimental. So we're going to be looking over the RPG-22, the RPG-75, as well as the new warheads added for the RPG-7. Now, unfortunately, to many people's dismay, I would assume, the Americans have not got a new rocket launcher in this update so far, okay? So I don't know if there's going to be one coming, but as of right now, there is not an alternative to the M72 lore. So I know there's a lot of you guys going to be kind of disappointed by that. I understand, but alas, we're going to be looking at the RPG-75, 22, and the new warheads today. And hopefully, maybe one day we'll see a new American rocket launcher. If you guys want to stay tuned in for any news and all of that kind of good stuff for Arma Reforger's experimental update, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you're new. So first off, we're going to start off by looking at the RPG-22. Now this is the Soviet alternative to the M72 lore. And as you can see, I'm going to put this bad boy away. Just show you that animation yet again. Nice. Solid animation. I love it. Now, just to have a quick look over this RPG, as you can see, it's just a tube with a bunch of firing instructions on the side and a ladder sight post that ranges from 50 meters to 250 meters. Now, it's to be said that this rocket launcher actually has a bigger warhead than the M72 lore. This is a 72.5 millimeter, while the M72 lore is 66 millimeters. So, for testing purposes today, I'm going to be shooting this at this barn. And as you guys may have known if you've watched my channel before, the way I like to test these things is more in a realistic scenario. You know, there's a lot of people that get out the experimental dev stuff and use all of the fancy penetration things to see where everything is. You know what? We're not going to do that. We ain't about that. I know how to do it and I can't be bothered. That's the reason why I'm not doing it. But I like to do it this way. I'd like to see how, if anything, this thing penetrates this concrete wall. So I'm going to put a couple of volunteers. Yeah, we'll call them volunteers. And we're going to see how well the RPG-22 does against this thick concrete wall. Now, I'm going to use this for pretty much all of my tests here today. And I would like to think, from memory, the M72 lore couldn't penetrate this. I could be wrong, and I guess I'm going to just have to test this before I put it out on a video. I don't want to look like a liar. But I believe this, if anything, will punch through and do a lot more damage out the back, if you know what I'm saying. So let's give it a try. All right. Okay, it did. Oh my gosh. Okay, as you can see, this is the back. So that killed two guys and did a fair amount of damage to the other two. Okay, so there was about 33 extrusions from that impact. Now, I don't know if that's going to make any difference, but I'm just going to check the M72 lore here. So now we're going to go over to the RPG-75. Now, this is exclusively for the FIA faction. It's a Czech-made rocket launcher. And as you can see, it's got some really cool attention to detail here. I really love this model. I'm just going to use the putting away animation. And pulling it back out again. How good is that? I really love that animation. So we're going to test it on this wall again. And I'm going to see this is 68 millimeters. So it's a little bit bigger than the M72 lore. Now, this thing can only be ranged from 100 to 300, and it's got like a wire net type sight, so it's pretty interesting, unique. Ooh, that flies a lot higher than I anticipated. That thing flies extremely high. Huh. Okay. I don't know what's going on there, but as you can see, it punches through the wall. One of the more interesting things added to this update, for me personally, was the introduction of the new warheads for the RPG-7. Now, it's really funny, actually. I feel like the devs have, well, I think it's known that the devs have made some changes to how the rockets fly in this update. And I'm going to show you just an example through this optic. So as you know, in the current Arma Reforger, the rockets would just fly pretty much dead straight and have a decent amount of drop, right, as it goes on. Now, the rockets actually have deviation. Now, this isn't affected by wind, apparently. It is just sort of random. So I'm going to show you here, if you keep your eyes on the middle of the screen, along the middle of the stadiometric ranging thing, and just watch the rocket, how it'll deviate from left or right. So as you can see, it deviated well over 1/2 meter from, let's say, I don't know what that was, maybe 600 meters away. We'll try another one. See if it flies off any other way. So as you can see, it flew about the same, deviated about the same distance. Now, of course, see, that one didn't deviate at all. It sort of seems to just be some random pattern. I'm not sure. See, that didn't deviate as much either. So it's quite interesting. Now, those are the original rockets that we've had in the game since forever. We also have the PG-7VL grenade and the PG-7VR. Now, these are a bit more heavy hitting. This is a 93mm warhead, and the VR is a 105mm warhead. So this would make it the biggest warhead in the game, while the one we originally had is only 70mm. From my limited knowledge of RPGs, I know that this VR grenade is predominantly used as a main battle tank killer, right? This thing is a very heavy rocket that is predominantly used for taking out tanks. Now, there's going to be a lot of speculation, people saying that, oh yeah, there's going to be tanks coming to Reforger. Look, I used to believe that there was, but I'm not exactly 100% sure anymore. Clamash did just say in Discord a few days ago that this was just an asset that they had lying around, and they did want to just put it in the game. Now, I don't know if that's diversion tactics. Let me know what you guys think, because I don't know, man. I don't see any other reason to be adding this thing. There's no reason to have it in the game, right? If you're not going to be adding heavily armored vehicles, I don't really understand the point of adding this thing. Now, its penetration capabilities and killing capabilities, it's great. Except the only problem with this warhead is it's extremely heavy. Okay, so to pretty much explain what I'm saying, as you can see here, I've got my iron sights ranged to 200 meters. And let's just say around here. Let's say that's somewhere between. Let's fire this rocket and see how far it goes. So as you can see, this rocket is extremely short falling. So the best way to actually range these rockets is not with the iron sights and not with the ranging. Best way to actually effectively use this rocket is using the PGO optic, which has a maximum, as you can see, all the way down the bottom here of 200 meters. So this warhead is effective for up to 200 meters, as it says in the description. So I'm going to shoot it at this and see where it lands. So yeah. It is best to use the PGO optic if you're using these warheads, albeit you're shooting at 200 meters. Now, it's not to say that this can't hit maybe 300 meters, but it will not be very accurate, I would assume. Nah, it fell short of those rocks. And this second warhead here, look, I'll be honest, I don't think there's anything really special about it. It is just it's just a bigger version of the one that we already had in the game. So maybe it flies a bit slower, maybe it's a bit more accurate, I'm not sure. Let's actually have a test. So let's roughly aim for where we were aiming before. Okay, that rocket was fairly straight. I'll fire another 2, see how straight it is. Okay, so it does deviate a little bit. But not as much as the original warheads. So interestingly enough, maybe that's the difference between the two. For the instance of this video, and I don't really think I'm going to be testing this warhead, but for this little guy here, I want to test it against, well, this poor building. Prepare yourselves. Oh. Oh. So look, it doesn't really look any different. Obviously, you know, this thing is more effective against armored vehicles. And the only real armored vehicle this thing will be coming up against is the LAV. So let's put an LAV out here. Do a quick test. I'm going to range this from just under 200, maybe just over 1.5. Let's have a go. Ooh, I don't know if that hit the top or the bottom. Let's give it one more try. A little bit higher this time. Oh! Okay, that time it did some damage. So as you can see, it hit square where the driver would be. Oh yeah, the driver would not have had a chance. Did a lot of interior damage, and lit the poor thing on fire. So, you know, it's a pretty deadly rocket. Look, I don't think the result is any different from any other rocket that the RPG uses. Anyway, I think that's kind of all I wanted to showcase to you guys today. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys are going to be sort of disappointed that the Americans don't have a new rocket launcher. And look, I kind of get it. You know, the Soviets having obviously more of a variety now with the 22 and the reloadable, while the Americans only have 72 law. I think a great way to balance this out was just give the Soviets a BMP-2 or a BMP-1 and give the Americans a reloadable rocket launcher. Appeal to all the masses. I know there's a lot of guys out there that want BMPs in the game, me included. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for the rest of this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure you stay subscribed for more Arma Reforger content. I'll be bringing you more videos next week on the Arma Reforger experimental update. Hope to see you guys there. See you guys out in the battlefield.